What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Will the Tiger. I'm here today with Zigg Zagg from Siccmade, Madesicc, Lope to the Brain. What's up, Zagg?
What's cracking?
Wanted to talk today about your book, Into the Storm. But before that, can you let everybody know where you're from?
From California, Sacramento, California. I spent quite a few years in San Diego, California, and, around other parts of California. But Siccmade Music, Madesicc Muzicc was where I first started, my career at 16 years old. And, Brotha Lynch Hung kind of put me up on the game and introduced me as his protege in a way and taught me everything that I know. I was sort of like his invention, and that's just kind of where I started and how I began.
Okay, so that's how you got started rapping, right? Writing lyrics with Lynch.
Yep.
One thing that was really interesting to me in the book, Into the Storm, for those of you who haven't checked out Zigg Zagg's book, Into the Storm, if you're a fan of Lynch or Zigg Zagg, you definitely need to check this one out. I got it on Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, KDP. It's, price varies. It's around $14.
One of the most interesting things to me in that book was talking about the time Lynch got shot. That was interesting because I remember reading online before that Lynch had got shot, and what I read was totally different from what was in the book. They were saying that he got shot at a mall trying to break up a fight or something like that.
Yeah, no, that didn't happen. He's only been shot one time, and that was it.
Yeah, and to this day, I think he still has the bullet inside him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was just amazing to read everything that you went through during that time.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was quite the it's quite the moment. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It was a product of my environment, I guess. And I just been through a lot in that sort of life.
Yeah, and it's actually amazing that you were able to come out of it and have such a good attitude and such a positive outlook on life now.
Yeah, people say that. That's why everybody kept telling me to write a book, so I did.
So do you have any plans on writing any more books in the future?
Yeah, yep, I definitely do. As a matter of fact, I'm still up in the air what my next book is going to be about, but I have a few ideas. So I can't really disclose them yet as of right now because like I said, I'm still kind of up in the air. So.
Oh, yeah.
It'll probably most likely be music related, though.
And also, I remember reading in the book that one time you guys went to go chill with Snoop Dogg in the Dog Pound for a little while.
Yeah.
You recorded some stuff with Snoop. Did it ever come out?
I never heard it, man. I know I heard it after I did it, and I was amazed, at how talented and how great that I that I did, but I never really heard it on wax. At one point in time, I asked him, hey, whatever happened to that? And he was like, man, I can't even remember what I did with it. So it was just, it was a really awesome experience that I got to experience. And Snoop is a really good guy, you know what I mean? I mean, he's a super cool cat, and he's a good friend of our clique, basically. And he was a fan of ours before I ever even met him. So, yeah, so it was just a great experience, for me.
Oh, yeah, and I noticed that Snoop still shows Lynch a lot of love, too. He's, and Snoop is way bigger than Siccmade or Madesicc ever was, and just to be cool like that and to show love is amazing.
Yeah, definitely. He does show a lot of love, yep.
Also, I remember reading that you were recording some music with some people one time. Like you were going to make an album or something like that, but they were kind of shady or something. I think you would take your kids and let them sleep on the couch while you were recording or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. That was Hot One Records. Hot One Records. And yeah, man. I mean, he wasn't even start out shady like that, you know what I'm saying? But he ended up being pretty shady, man. I made the best album that it hurts me to this day to even think about it, but that's like one of the main reasons I don't even do music anymore is because it's, I mean like a straight platinum album, man. I'm telling you, this album was beyond beyond any album you've ever heard, better than any female, any male, any album, period. It was straight platinum. I know it was. And finished the album. I mean, got pretty close to finishing it. The record company owner and I got into it. I mean, we bumped heads a lot. So, you know, he got upset because I wanted a copy of the album so that I could take it home, take a vibe to it, and you know, kind of direct myself on where I want to continue to go with this album. And he didn't allow me to take a copy home with me. It's kind of like a Suge Knight dude, you know what I mean? And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not finishing the album then. You know, if you can't let me, you know, vibe off of it and see where I want to go with it, man, then I'm not, you know, then I don't know where I want to go, and I'm not going to finish it until you do. And so we just kind of, that's where it all started. And then he ended up going to jail for a few years for some federal stuff, some drug junk, and one way or another, the whole contract was breached, and the album never came out. And I've been begging him ever since, like, man, what can I do to get this album out? And he always making up stuff, like, you know, let's do a cover, let's do this, let's do that. You know, I'll shoot him pictures for the cover, and he'll never respond. I'll do this, and he never respond. You know, so it's just like, whatever, chop it up as a loss. But, man, I'm done. I'm not playing anymore. I put my heart, soul, blood, sweat, tears, and my kids into that album. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we really sacrificed a lot, and so, you know, it was a big loss for me.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a loss for the fans too, because it would have probably been a really good piece of art.
Lying. You are not lying. Yeah, y'all would have definitely loved that album, man. I promise you that. I know it for a fact.
I know, like your personal songs, the Argument series. I love those.
Yeah, this was so different. I mean, it was a little bit more commercial, but it was different, you know, like a different vibe. It was like, I mean, it was so live, you know what I mean? Like, it was good. It was so good. So,
yeah, I always felt that, if you ever had any real money behind you and the right advertising and marketing, you could have blown up.
I would have. I definitely would have. I know that.
Because you were different. You were so different than the 90s female rappers.
Yeah.
They were all just like sex appeal, showing stuff off, and not saying that you don't look good or anything like that, but you would have had like the whole package.
Yeah, I never was really about that, you know. It was more about my content more than anything.
Yeah, and honestly, I liked your whole swagger, the way you used to just like wear like jerseys and sweats and, you know, stuff like that, like straight up 80s hip hop.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I was kind of a little bit hood like that.
Also, I remember you talking about in the book when Lynch was going to court for he was trying to get the rights to his name or something like that from Black Market.
The masters for his album. So yeah, he went to court for that. It was a huge lawsuit. It was like $1 million lawsuit they were going through, and he won it. You know, eventually, not without a fight and not without some sacrifice, but he did win.
And I remember you talking about the guy from Black Market. I don't know if he's like set up a home invasion, but he knew about it.
Yeah.
When they came to steal I think they tried to steal some music or something from Lynch.
The way he explained it was that when I talked to him about it, I had a chance to sit down and actually talk to him about like what happened, and he said that some dude came to him and basically was like, you know, hey, you know, if I get some Lynch music or whatever, would you pay me for it? And so, you know, Cedric was like, yeah, I guess I would, you know, and so so he came in to rob us and you know, look for Lynch's masters and stuff like that. And apparently he found some stuff. So yeah, man, he came in there and ended up getting some masters, and then with some video footage and stuff like that.
Wow, so it was just all about stealing some music and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, who knew that at the time, you know? And so me, I didn't, I just know that you know, I came out the room. Thank you. I came out of the room and there was, somebody dressed in all black and black mask and gun and everything else. And, so, when I saw that, I went in there to go grab my gun and it was locked up and I panic and I'm trying to get it unlocked and he came in and found me. And I didn't know there was 5 of them at the time, But if I hadn't known that, I probably wouldn't have went for that gun because I know I wouldn't have had a chance,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely would have been shot and killed in that situation. But, you do what you do.
Well, I'm sure you were just trying to protect your kids anyway, too.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a horrible situation to be in.
Yeah, it's funny, I don't even know if I described it in the book like that, but when you're in a situation like that, it really wasn't even, it was just surreal. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like scary. It wasn't, when you're in a situation like that, you don't get scared. There isn't even any time to get scared. You just react. That's all you have time to do. You just use your best judgment and react.
Yeah, it just happens way too fast.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, something I'd like to talk about, if you don't mind, is you had a couple chapters about one of your, I guess she was your best friend, Michelle?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember, I kind of remember that from back in the day, but I was thinking she was your sister.
She is, yeah. She's my sister, Lynch's sister, actually. So, but she was also my best friend.
Oh, okay, so she was Lynch's sister. Yeah. I remember that song that Loki made for her. The memorial.
Yeah,
that's that I still listen to that song probably like at least once a month. And whenever I put it on, I put it on repeat.
That's funny. I made one too called The Tribute, and it was on one of my albums.
Yeah, I had I can't remember which one I had. I think it was Through the Eyes of She.
Yeah, that's the album it was on.
That's just a sad situation. The way you described it in the book and the way Loki described it in the song, that's just horrible.
Yeah. It was bad, and the worst part about it was that we were on, on tour at the time. So, so there was limited communication and access and, and just to find that type of information out while you're on tour, on the road, and you can't do anything about it. You can't even go home to even, we weren't even sure. You can't just quit the tour, I mean, we could have, but, we had too much to do still. And so, so we weren't even sure we were going to make it home for the funeral. And that was the worst part about it. And then when I did get home, finally, and everything hit me. Because while I was on tour, and, I just pushed everything to the back, and was like, no, trying to convince myself that I wasn't bothered by it. But I was bothered by it, deep down inside. And, yeah, man, it was kind of situation where you kind of have to face it, and that's what I did, and it wasn't easy, that's for sure. I still go through it, to this day. I mean, as a matter of fact, her mom just passed away the day before yesterday. Her mother had cancer and was sick too, so she just joined her the other day. But yeah, it was a rough situation, like many other situations I had been through.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, you could have made a movie about your life.
I could, yeah. I'm sure. Probably a good selling one, too. That's funny. And hey, if I had the, the skills and maybe the backup or whatever, the support, I probably would, just because it was, and the funny thing is, like, all of the different things that I've been through, they just come and go. It just happened. It's part of life. I just move on, I don't sit there and dwell on it. I don't blame anybody. It's kind of over, whatever it is and whatever it is,
I remember reading I think it was the first chapter, the introduction or something, where you said that you're just like your dad. Your dad's like really laid back. and he doesn't
Yeah.
really dwell on stuff either.
No. No.
So when you
Yeah.
when you stopped, I guess it was when you stopped rapping, when you left Siccmade.
Yeah. When I
You
left, yeah, I never stopped rapping, but yeah, when I left him.
you went to San Diego.
Yeah, not immediately. I went to Siccmade Music after I broke up with Lynch, and then I went. I tried to hang in there for a minute, but it was just too difficult being around everybody. And everybody was really, you know what I'm saying, like his friends more than anything. And I felt at the time, and I saw, that people were no longer super interested in me, and they really didn't have the love I thought they had. So me kind of thing, that you feel when you leave, I guess. And so, so they would all like, take his side over mine, over everything, and I was just like, I'm out, I'm out of here. It felt like there was no reason for me to want to stay anymore, but I still stuck around in that city and went to another label and did that album with him. And then when that, fell apart, yeah, I was pretty much out right after that.
Yeah, you just kind of felt like you were being replaced or something like that.
Well, I knew I was being replaced, definitely,
Yeah.
And and I felt every bit of it, but I also felt like the love that I always thought that I had from everybody was not real, and I seen it. There was proof to back it up, you know what I mean? And so, and it's funny because they can all come to me to this day and be like, I love you. And honestly, like, I don't really hold a grudge, but I'm like, the love you think you have or the love that you think is not real love,
Yeah.
And so I, so I'm distant. I really haven't talked to too many of them ever since I moved out here. And I'm not really, it's not that I don't, still have a good amount of love for them, or it's not that it's just that I've moved on and I'm just moving on. Kind of thing,
I feel you, and that's probably what made you decide to move all the way to the East Coast, right?
No, my mom was out here, and so when I went to San Diego, I got remarried to this dude. I know I talked about it in the book, and he ended up being kind of a psycho.
Yeah.
And so after I divorced him, I was there for about another year, just trying to hang in there. But the economy was so bad out there at the time. It was like 2012 maybe or something. And I had the job that I had for 3 years went down. They closed, and so then I was, lost everything basically, and then it was just all downhill from there. But I learned a lot of good things during that process, and I wouldn't take it back to the world, So it got a little difficult though.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because at the beginning of the book, you were talking about how your relationship was with your mother, when you were younger, and she probably had a lot to do with why you ran off with Lynch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's the reason I left home. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So, how's the relationship now?
Better, but in an adult. It's the same, but in an adult form. So I'm an adult. She's, an adult. You know what I mean? There's still not a huge amount of closeness or bonding between us per se, but we did have a decent amount of, we created some good memories while I was here living with her for the year or whatever it was. It was less than a year, basically. And so, yeah, we created some good memories at that time. But I also found out that she hadn't changed. She was still the same person, and it's toxic for me to be around. So I chose to leave again, and we kind of fell apart a little bit after that, but then we started, once we were distant from each other again, we started talking again. So, we're as close as we probably ever will be. We talk frequently. There's a little bit of resistance there, and there's a little bit of distance there. There's, the things that we never were able to build, it's still kind of the same, but I'm an adult now, so I'm not scared of her. I'm not, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and sometimes you just have to be the bigger person too, right?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Most of the time.
A lot of times. I love her. Don't get me wrong. I love my mother with all of my heart, but I'm better at loving her from a distance.
Oh, I understand. I got some family members like that too.
Yeah, I got a few other ones like that too.
After you moved to Virginia, or maybe before, somewhere around that time, you I guess you found God, or you got spiritual with God now?
Yeah, well, it was before that. I was still in Sacramento when I first started going back to church with my friend Keisha. She's my best friend, and so I was going to church with her, and then I got baptized again. Me and my son and my daughter. I think all three of us did, and then then I moved. It's like I stayed in church for the most part, but I never was really involved for the most part. So until I got out here. Then when I got out here, there was this church that was right around the corner from my mom's house that I started going to. And it didn't take long before I because when I first got there, I was like so distant and I didn't want anything to do with anybody. I was just there just to hear the message and stuff like that. And but I didn't want to take any of it like to the heart really or anything like that. And then maybe after a year of going there, I finally got involved. Like I just decided to go to one of their little events, and I volunteered there and it, and because of that, like I got to know people. People actually talked to me and stuff like that. Find the real meaning of the benefits or whatever of going to church, because there are some,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it actually takes for you to get involved in church. You don't have to go to church to have a relationship with God or whatever, but I did find the benefits of going, and that was helpful for me, So yeah.
And that's also
yeah, I did.
That's also a part of the reason why you don't really record music anymore, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like I said earlier, just because I can't. It's hard for me to. It's like I transitioned my life, but it's hard for me to find the transition of my music to go along with that,
Yeah.
And so I've been having a hard time with figuring out, like the right things to say in my music, so that I'm the influence that I want to be. So I'm sharing the message I want to share. So that kind of thing. I don't want to give off the wrong message,
Oh yeah, most definitely. That I actually commend you for that, because to just put out music, just to put it out, just to satisfy the fans, but you would feel like you're being phony at the same time.
Yeah.
But you probably could do it and make money. You just don't want. It's not something that you want to be involved in.
Yeah.
Usually, I ask people if there was 3 artists that you want to work with. If you ever got to a top level, do you have 3 artists? Like, if you ever got to like Eminem's level or anything like that?
You're funny. 3 artists.
I mean, like, it could be anybody from any genre. It don't have to be just rap music.
Maybe like Foxy Brown, MC Light, Queen Latifah.
Oh yeah, that would be bad. That would be bad. That would be bad right there. Like, in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thank you for the interview, and I have one personal question I always ask everybody. Lynch is my favorite rapper, so I'll ask you, what do you think of him as an artist?
Phenomenal. He's a good artist. He worked real hard to get where he is, and I don't have anything negative to say about his music. I think some of it's a little bit weird, his content, but to each their own. I know that he is a performer, every bit of a performer, and in that industry, you make stuff up. It's like acting, so you just you go wherever you go with it. Yeah, but I definitely have nothing but good things to say about him as an artist and a person.
Sounds good. And you know, I'm surprised. Everybody I asked that question, like some people, I'm expecting them to not even know who he is, and they all pretty much say the same thing.
Yeah.
Most definitely, I thank you for the interview. If you write another book or end up doing another album, maybe we can do this again.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, and thanks for all your support. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, most definitely.